Welcome to Sharing Sox special St. Patrick's Day edition. I am Leigh Allan, the duty geezer at Southside Sox, and this is the closest I've got to green in any piece of clothing I own. So I'm doing what I can. Meanwhile, my son and West Coast correspondent Will is not wearing any green at
Oh,
all.
that is not true.
Oh,
Look closely. This socks hat from Joe Fresh Goods is green, actually.
Oh, okay. I could not tell from
Yeah,
the lighting.
very, very cool hat. Joe Fresh Goods. Check it out. But yes, I am safe. I'm safe with my green socks hat.
We are in a little better shape, Sox-wise, with what's been going on than has been the case for the past couple of reviews of the week. Last 4 games, a couple of wins and a couple of ties, although pretty much just the ties, the wins, just one case, an NRI guy hitting a solo homer for a 1-0 win. Another case of where 5 errors by the Padres were somewhat helpful. And even the game with Los Angeles, with the Angels, the White Sox offense really had nothing. They had a 5-run inning that was a great Luis Robert homer, and then a bunch of plays that should have been made that weren't called errors, that would have been made. I guarantee you that Adam Eaton's great double blast to left center, which went in and out of the center fielder's mitt, would have been caught by one Mike Trout, probably effortlessly.
I'm not familiar with his work. He must be new.
So meanwhile, but the pitching, we haven't talked about the pitching because that's the highlight. Dylan Cease there behind Will. Will is the big Cease fan. I have not had great faith in Cease. I'm the big Rodón fan. Will has not had faith in Rodón. Both of them have looked very good.
Very good.
And I have a thing. I think if this continues into the regular season with Cease, Rodón, a little bit of Lopez, and maybe even some of the relievers, that for one of these special event days, they should fill a swimming pool, put it out behind second base, big swimming pool, portable one, and fill it with water, and have Ethan Katz walk on it.
I think you're jumping the gun a little bit there, but first I just want to clarify that my doubts about Rodón are injury related. I preached this last week. Rodón has an amazing skill set. I could not be happier with how the starters have looked, other than, of course, Keuchel not being around
mysteriously
for some reason. But yeah, I'm thrilled. It was great to see Cease out there looking good. Again, I'm not ready to say, I love Cease. You know this. I, for no reason whatsoever, love Dylan Cease. It is not based on anything other than maybe the fact that you're a parent and you don't like Dylan Cease. So I'm still a teenage rebel in that regard. But I was thrilled to see him throw the way he did. Thrilled to see Rodón throw the way he did. Again, these games have been so ridiculous and so terrible and so sloppy and ending in ties or ending innings early. I'm not willing to even suggest that any of this is a sign of good things to come. Just like I'm not willing to say that the terrible hitting is a sign of bad things to come. But it's certainly a good sign that we are seeing fundamental changes to both Cease and Rodón that could keep Rodón healthier and could add a little more movement to Cease's ball. That's going to be tricky for
Cease has been, not to put any damper on the one you're a fan of more, in the past has been a good spring guy. I can remember, you wouldn't have seen being out in California, but they televised locally an inter-squad game during summer camp. And Cease was blowing away his teammates. I mean, his ball was jumping all over the place. Stoney was going, wow, look at that, look at it. And you're going, well, this guy's going to be really good. And when it came to the regular season, he was really bad. But I think Katz may have made enough fundamental changes in what's going on that it can continue into the regular season and be for real.
I totally agree. I mean, it does. He doesn't look like the same pitcher. Like he looks like an improved pitcher. He looks like there have been adjustments to his delivery that are extremely beneficial to him. I don't expect him to come out and be mowing down big leaguers left and right, but I do think we are looking at a potential of a Dylan Cease with an ERA in the mid threes, maybe closer to 4. But still, if we get that from Cease, that is
Oh yeah.
good. That is real good. That is we're going to the playoffs material, especially if we can get something similar from Rodón. I mean, if we can get Rodón in the mid threes, you're talking about winning a lot of baseball games.
If we get the hitting. Of course, the one we're missing, and you mentioned it, Dallas Keuchel, mysteriously has not pitched. I think 2 weeks ago, Tony La Russa was saying, well, if he gets in 3 or 4 starts before the season, he's fine because he's very experienced. Well, it's getting to the point now that's not going to happen.
He's at the point now where he's going to get in 1 if he gets in any.
There's no word on what, if anything, is wrong. He has done a little batting practice throwing, that kind of thing. But there's a real big information problem on this team. And partially, I'm sure it's COVID. That reporters aren't there and sticking a microphone in everybody's face or going up with a little notepad and one. But La Russa is infamous. He's a great Bobby Knight fan. They both hate the media because they are arrogant jerks and they don't provide information. With Nick Madrigal or Madrigal, we've never resolved that actually. He came back. Good reason why he wasn't playing. We all knew that from last year because he had the shoulder surgery. Came back, had 2 plate appearances, including that weird falling backwards, trying to get out of the way, grounder to third thing, and then disappeared. And it was a week later before anybody comes out from the White Sox and says, well, he strained his shoulder a little. Why? If he strained his shoulder a week before, why don't you say that? This is really, really bad. And I think the disdain for the fans that comes from Jerry Reinsdorf on down and is really multiplied by La Russa is, I think it's a real problem. If the team wins 130 games, I guess it doesn't matter if you have any information, but the failure to let the people who you depend on for your income know what the heck's going on is just not excusable.
Yeah, it's strange. This is actually something Brett Valentini talks about. He's pretty vocal about is the White Sox control of information. It's very different from most pro sports teams. The White Sox don't release much information. The information they do release tends to be released by them first in a public arena rather than talking to the media, talking to reporters. It seems like they don't really want players talking about what's going on with other players or what's going on with the team health-wise or in terms of preparing for the season. It's very strange, and I agree. It comes from the top. You know, the social media intern is not the person making the decision that they don't talk about things. It definitely is from the top, and I can't tell you why, other than the fact that, Reinsdorf seems to not really give a crap about what people know, what people get to find out about, what the fans think. And a part of me understands that because the more information you release, the more people like us speculate. And although you could just tell the truth and just be really forward and then we don't speculate at all, we just say, okay, that's the thing. But they have gone the opposite route where they don't really let us know anything. It's pretty bizarre.
They did with Luis Robert say that he's got a slight abdominal strain, and that's why he's been missing for a couple of days. How slight it really is, we'll find out, I guess. Meanwhile, 13 guys are gone. on Tuesday, 13 more cut. Nothing the least bit unexpected. That leaves 42 people in camp. There will not be 42 people on the roster on opening day. I don't know how many, I don't remember how many they're entitled to keep in Schaumburg.
Right.
Because they've extended that system, but of course it'll be 26 on the regular roster, which I understand you've got some lineup things to talk about, which are you going to take a break and come back with that?
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. We can talk about some of the hitting woes when we
Yes, for
return,
sure.
and I'll talk about some interesting lineup things brought to us by R.B.I. 21 Baseball on Nintendo Switch. They made some decisions in advance of the season that are kind of interesting. So yeah, let's talk about that when we get back. Be right back.
Now you were back. You had a dropout. I could hear you. Okay, but you had a big volume drop for a while there. Now you came back right at the end. You must have gone away from your mic or
yeah.
mics.
I think it was my mic came on. My headphones came unplugged.
Oh.
So I switched from headphone mic to computer mic for a second. Was
you're
it
okay now?
Was it like?
Oh, no, you don't have to worry that it's not usable, but it was quiet.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Do you want to?
Yeah, let's start a little bit with the hitting and then.
Cool. Sounds good. Go ahead and bring it back.
All right, we are back, and we've been talking about the pitching by the White Sox, which has been, by and large, knock on wood here, terrific. The White Sox have given up fewer runs, and again, yeah, none of it counts. We understand that, but still, individual things show, certain things show. You have given up fewer runs than any team in the Cactus League. They have also scored fewer runs than any team in the Cactus League. And that's an oddity. You look at one of the things is home runs. 6, I think. Puts them not at the very bottom, but very close to the bottom.
It's not impressive.
It's not well, yeah, and you start wondering about the ball. Although there haven't, other than the one Jose got robbed of a homer, but other than that, there haven't been a lot of he goes back to the wall and makes the catch things. There not been a whole lot of really hard hit balls. The batting averages, Jose is down, but maybe coming around a little. Tim, and this is, I guess, what to bring up. Tim Anderson is not hitting well. He's also not fielding well. And to me, and we discussed this, I can remember this last year, who's the real MVP? To me, it was Tim. Nothing against Mr. Abreu, who is fantastic. But when Tim is not going well, when he's hurt, the team really starts to drag. He just sets it all up. And if I just got to hope that this is just a little spring thing and he's trying to flick balls over the shortstop's head or some strange thing, and not that he's just a little bit off, because if he's off going into the season, I think it would be very detrimental to the whole offensive output, despite all the other great hitters on the team.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. It would be a huge issue to start the season with a cold Tim Anderson leading off. However, I am going to say Tim is all about the energy. He's all about the limelight, the fans, the showing off, the having fun out there. And spring training this year probably is pretty weird still. I think he is a guy who feeds off adrenaline from other people. And this spring training especially is extremely sleepy. It is boring. Doesn't feel like good baseball most of the time. So I don't anticipate that this is going to carry into the season. One thing that's so strange about Tim, though, is the fact that he's not hitting well. He's hitting 207. But the weirdest thing is he's only struck out twice, and he's only got one walk. I don't know what's weirder. I mean, Tim likes to swing, so we know that. But to only
He
have,
doesn't walk much anyway.
exactly, to have almost the same amount of strikeouts as walks is kind of the point I'm making, is very strange. It means he's putting the bat on the ball all the time. So,
But not hard.
But not hard. That being said, I'd be a lot more concerned if he was swinging and missing a ton, and he's not. And I think that's just a matter of sort of still he's tuning up. Once he gets out there and he knows it counts, the games matter. I think we're going to see a big difference from him. Another person to hit on, which is your worst nightmare, I think, is the fact that Zack Collins is hitting 421.
Well, yeah, we've got to give some credit there. Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to have to stop making him the butt of all the jokes in my written pieces, because he must be reading them and just wanting to get back at me.
I look back at how Zack has done in springs in the past, and actually he's a very good spring hitter. He had one bad spring year, I think it was 2018, but otherwise very good spring or summer camp hitter. So we have not necessarily seen Zack Collins get over the hump, but it's certainly nice to see. It's better than having him hit 180. In fact, the best hitters on the team, mostly, not entirely, but mostly have been the backup catcher candidates. One of whom, Sebi Zavala, is gone. He was one of the 13 who got dumped on.
Well, and I mean, he was technically 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, it's hitting 333.
Yeah.
But Collins is hitting a ton. Mercedes is hitting not quite as well. He's slowed down as a hitter. He threw out 3 runners on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be this.
He's striking out a lot, though. He's striking out a lot.
I don't think there's any chance that Mercedes stays with the team.
And will they also striking out a lot, which is something normal to be concerned about. Yeah, it's as expected, but 8 strikeouts and 33 at bats is not great. Although he has taken 6 walks and he's still hitting 273. So I think that's about where we would expect him to be. And he's doing all right. Lucroy has cooled off majorly. In fact, I don't think he's gotten a hit since our last talk. Moncada is starting to look more like the Moncada of the past, which I'm excited about. He's got 6 strikeouts and 26 at bats, but he's also taken 4 walks and he's got no home runs. So it does make you wonder a little bit about the legs still and how.
Some nice line slashes though. From Moncada.
He to me seems like someone we do not have to worry about repeating a 2020 campaign. I just don't see that happening. But as of right now, I mean, there is no way you can argue that Collins should not be on the team. It's hard to say that.
I think he could be 26th man. And of course, if they play games with Vaughn, now the word now is they're talking extension with Vaughn, in which case we get rid of the service time question. They're also talking with Giolito, and Jerry better be ready to come up with some money there. Unlike anything we've seen out of him before, I would think.
Yeah.
But if Vaughn did not start with the team, then Collins obviously is going to be there, and he's going to be your DH and left-handed and right-handed pitchers. But I don't know how much Collins gets to play if Vaughn is there.
Right.
He's not going to face all the right-handed hitters.
Let me use that to segue into what R.B.I. Baseball 21 has put as our starting lineup for opening day. Some interesting things. Zack Collins did make the team. He was not in the starting lineup, of course. Yasmani Grandal was. Collins was on the team. Andrew Vaughn was not on the team.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And Luis Gonzalez was on the team, which seemed very strange.
Seems extremely unlikely unless someone's hurt between now and the 1st of April.
Right, and the game was not dealing with any injuries at this point. Injuries were turned on, but no one was hurt or anything. I think it's a little strange. The game also opted for Adam Engel as the DH against Andrew Haney on opening day.
Haney's a lefty, right?
Yeah, with Eloy in left field. which I don't want to spoil much for my review of this truly, truly terrible installment in this franchise. But Eloy, much like Eloy, did run through a wall in left field on the first play of the game to completely disappear underneath the fans. I think that can only be chalked up to a glitch. We've seen Eloy dive into the net many times, but he usually stays in this realm and on this plane of existence. And in this version of the game, he does not. That's the batting
Does he
order.
get hurt?
He does not. He did not get hurt at all. Why would he get hurt? He ran right through the wall. It didn't hurt him one little bit. In terms of rotation, they picked Cease as the 4 and Rodón as the 5, which also seems realistic at this point, with Crochet in the bullpen and Lopez in the bullpen as well. Kopech in the bullpen to start the season.
Those all make sense.
Absolutely, those all make sense. For some reason, I cannot figure out for the life of me, Evan Marshall was nowhere to be seen.
He's not in the roster?
My guess is he's in my list of reserves that I can go bring him in, but I haven't checked. I just did this based on opening day alone, but I went to bring Evan Marshall in, no luck. Giolito pitched a great first game for me. The game is still figuring out some of its fatigue, pitcher fatigue issues, as I had thrown 62 pitches through 7 and was completely gassed, despite no walks, no strikeouts. So the new pitching format is questionable as well. So
Lucas is pitching to contact now.
That's true. There you go. And he sure was. I don't think I had a swing and a miss in the game, though, which was also interesting, considering I was dominant in last year's version. So that's what the game has decided we are going to go with. We're going to go with Luis Gonzalez. They also put Mendick on the bench, Leury Garcia. So what, it's interesting. I think Gonzalez is the only really strange one. I think you can go ahead and swap Gonzalez for Vaughn already at this point. In terms
and that
of,
left room also to have Mendick.
Yeah, Mendick
who was having about as bad a spring as you can have as a potential backup somewhere.
Yeah, he has not made a case to be on this team again at all, which for a Gold Glove nominee, which was kind of strange, but okay. He's really not helping his cause to get back out there. Leori, on the other hand, is really showing he's a major league roster guy.
Leori, of course, is also historically one great spring hitter.
True, yeah, but he's also historically not terrible in the
no, but it's not. I mean, 400 for him in the spring. Yeah, that's kind of natural. But then 260 regular season. That's great for your utility man. That's great.
And the longest tenured White Sox. He's been with the organization the longest. So it's cool to see him come out and be having a Leury spring, and I definitely think he's earned a spot on the team. He will absolutely be on the roster.
There's no question he'll be there if he's not hurt.
So the real question is Vaughn. In terms of the skills they've given the players in the game, everyone is excruciatingly slow. Madrigal,
including Luis.
I'll get to that. Madrigal and Tim Anderson were both nearly thrown out on singles to right field twice, which seems strange. And with the exception of Luis Robert, who is faster than any human I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how this game tries to measure human speed, but Luis gets to second base in about 3 seconds. So needless to say, I ended game 1 with 4 stolen bases for Luis Robert, because I could go after the pitch hit the catcher's glove and I was still standing up. I have no idea. So check out the review. Get a good laugh. It is a scathing review. I'll warn you in advance. That being said, not super unrealistic on where our roster could be in 2 weeks?
Well, we'll see where it is in 1 week. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think so. So we will see you next week, which will be our last podcast of spring training. Then we'll
probably be recording it just before opening day, but won't be up until opening day. Yeah.
That's right. We will have a warm up to opening day episode, which I will hopefully get to check out some of the opening series in Anaheim, since I'm a SoCal local. And then hopefully you'll get to check out some games at a guaranteed rate in the near future. Sounds like you will be able to. And I'll get out there in May or June and cheer on these Sox. We'll see how it goes. So thanks for tuning in. That's it for us from the Duty Geezer and his son. This has been Sharing Sox.